Imagine a world where World War II didn't end with the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. What if Operation Downfall had been executed instead? In the twilight of the Second World War, as the Allies were closing in on victory, a plan was already being formulated for the final push, Operation Downfall. This was the code name for the Allied plan for the invasion of Japan, a plan that, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your perspective, never saw the light of day. It was a two-pronged strategy, a 1-2 punch designed to bring the empire of the rising sun to its knees. The first phase, Operation Olympic, slated for November 1945, was to be the largest amphibious assault in history, dwarfing even the Normandy landings. It was to take place on the southernmost Japanese home island of Kyushu, with the intent of establishing airfields and naval bases, providing a springboard for the second phase of the operation. And that brings us to Phase 2. Operation Coronet, scheduled for March 1946, this was to be the knockout blow. The target, the Kanto Plain on the main Japanese island of Honshu, right in Tokyo's backyard. The aim was nothing short of capturing the Japanese capital and forcing an unconditional surrender, but of course, as we know, history took a different turn. The atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945 brought about Japan's surrender before Operation Downfall could be launched. Yet the question remains, a tantalizing what if that continues to intrigue historians and military strategists alike. What would have happened had Operation Downfall been put into action? What would have been the human cost, the geopolitical implications, the ripple effects that might have shaped the world we live in today? So what would the world look like if Operation Downfall had been put into action? Let's delve deeper into this unseen operation, this path not taken, and explore the possibilities. Stay with us as we journey into this fascinating alternate history. Let's dive into the first phase of Operation Downfall, known as Operation Olympic. This initial strike was scheduled to take place in November of 1945. The primary objective was to seize the southern part of the Japanese home island of Kyushu. The military planners had their sights set on the expansive plain near the city of Miyazaki, a strategic location that could support large-scale operations. The terrain was flat, with long, sandy beaches, making it an ideal spot for the Allied forces to make their landing and establish a stronghold. The scale of Operation Olympic was unlike anything the world had seen before. It would have involved 14 Army and Marine divisions, making it the largest amphibious operation in history. To give you a sense of the magnitude, let's consider that the Normandy invasion involved only 5 divisions on D-Day. In terms of naval power, Operation Olympic would have dwarfed every previous naval engagement. The plan called for over 400 combat ships and more than 1,100 auxiliary vessels and landing ships. This would have been the most massive armada ever assembled, far surpassing the fleet used in the invasion of Normandy. But this grand operation came with a chilling estimate of casualties. The planners of Operation Olympic anticipated heavy resistance from the Japanese forces based on the ferocity of the fighting on Okinawa and Iwo Jima. The casualty estimates ran into the hundreds of thousands on both sides. And yet, this was just the first phase. The second phase, Operation Coronet, was planned for the following spring, with the aim of capturing the Kanto Plain, near Tokyo. With the sheer scale and potential devastation of Operation Olympic, could the second phase be any more daunting? Now we turn our attention to Operation Coronet, the second phase of Operation Downfall. Planned to unfold in March of 1946, Operation Coronet was designed to be the other half of the 1-2 punch aimed at ending the Second World War. The mission was simple yet daunting. Land forces on the Kanto Plain near Tokyo and force an unconditional Japanese surrender. The chosen landing sites were vast, spanning from the Boso Peninsula to the Miura Peninsula. These locations were strategically picked to provide the Allies with a foothold for the final push towards Tokyo, the heart of the Japanese Empire. But the Allies knew they wouldn't be greeted with open arms. Anticipating fierce resistance, they braced themselves for what was to come. The Japanese forces, known for their unwavering resolve and willingness to fight to the last man, were expected to put up a formidable defense. The Japanese were fully prepared to defend their homeland, with over 40 divisions and thousands of aircraft at their disposal. They had also trained millions of civilians to resist the invasion, making the operation even more perilous. The projected casualties were chilling. The Allies estimated that Operation Coronet would result in over 1 million casualties on both sides. The thought of such loss was sobering. Such a high price for victory was a burden that weighed heavily on the minds of the Allied leaders. But the stakes were high. The Allies believed that Operation Coronet was the final blow needed to end the war. It was a gamble they were willing to take to bring an end to the suffering and destruction caused by the war. However, the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August of 1945 rendered Operation Downfall unnecessary. The Japanese surrendered, bringing the war to a close before Operation Coronet could be launched. Operation Coronet would have been a decisive and potentially devastating blow, but at what cost? The answer to this question, fortunately, remains a matter of speculation, a grim reminder of the horrors that might have been. Operation Downfall, if executed, would have undeniably changed the course of history, but how? It's a question that has haunted historians for decades. The sheer magnitude of Operation Downfall was staggering, with projected casualties on both the Allied and Japanese sides reaching into the millions. This was not just a battle, but a cataclysm that would have dwarfed even the largest engagements of World War II. Beyond the human toll, executing Operation Downfall might have prolonged the war, potentially extending the conflict into 1946 or even 1947. The geopolitical implications are equally profound. With Asia further destabilized, the balance of power could have shifted dramatically, shaping a post-war world vastly different from the one we know today. In the end, these scenarios remain hypothetical. Operation Downfall remains one of the greatest what-ifs of World War II, a chilling reminder of the scale and cost of global conflict.